What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE heading to Amazon, Royal Rumble surprises leaked, Becky Lynch reveals post-WWE plans, a former WWE star breaks his silence on being released, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also be sure to check out our new website, Wrestlelamia.com. As always, we won't recap the show, we'll just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre's promo exchange. Last night's Raw kicked off with a strong promo segment between Punk and Drew McIntyre. McIntyre managed to hold his own against Punk, and McIntyre once again solidified himself as a top star in the company, and WWE should prioritize re-signing the former WWE champion as soon as possible. McIntyre would reference Punk's behavior during his initial run, and he would mainly focus on his aims to win the annual Royal Rumble match in 2 weeks. McIntyre vs Punk would make for a great program for both men leading up to WrestleMania, as there is a ton of history to explore. Number 2, R-Truth shines. Since his WWE return late last year, Triple H has booked R-Truth consistently well, and last night was no exception. Truth was yet again causing mischief, and Truth even had his own video segment hilariously talking about his involvement in the Judgment Day faction. Truth has a genuine and organic connection with the audience, and it's hardly a surprise that Truth is currently one of the most popular stars of the entire roster. Number 3, the presentation of Nia Jax. Nia Jax's presentation on Raw continues to be a strong aspect of the women's division. Triple H clearly understands where Jax's strengths lie, and a feud with Becky Lynch has been executed perfectly so far. Jax had an enjoyable promo exchange with Rhea Ripley last night on Raw, and based on the crowd response to Ripley, we may be looking at Ripley turning face at some point in 2024. Number 4, all-round great wrestling. Raw featured numerous matches that were excellent from an in-ring perspective. Finn Balor vs Ciampa and the women's tag team title match were all great television matches, which helped the pacing of the show. A 3-hour wrestling show is always going to be hard to book, and Triple H is gradually finding the right balance to keep fans engaged for the extended runtime. Number 5, Cody Rhodes is free to finish the story. In Raw's main event, Cody Rhodes defeated his arch-rival Shinsuke Nakamura in a street fight, and by the way, those match graphics looked awesome. The match was by the numbers TV street fight main event, and the crowd were firmly behind Rhodes. But Nakamura has lost yet another feud, which could be an issue down the line, as his credibility could come into question when he is next selected to face a major name on the roster. Rhodes is now free to set his sights on WrestleMania 40 and potentially finish the story by defeating Roman Reigns to become world champion for the first time. And Jinder Mahal's push. Out of nowhere, Jinder Mahal has been pushed into the main event scene. Mahal had a promo segment with world champion Seth Rollins last night on Raw, and now Mahal vs Rollins for the world title is now set for next week's Raw. This feels oddly similar to when Mahal became a main eventer overnight in 2017, and well, to his credit, he was tremendous in his segment with The Rock last week, so it's appreciated that WWE are actually giving him this huge opportunity. Mahal vs Rollins is likely to be a one-time deal, and the world title match simply gives Mahal a reward for his great work, whilst giving Rollins another successful title defense heading into the Rumble. There was nothing on the show that was bad or ugly this week. The show was a decent 3-hour broadcast on the road to the Royal Rumble. Punk's return to the show definitely helped elevate the show from an average Raw to a very decent Raw, and it'd be nice for Punk to be a regular on Raw on a weekly basis, as this may be the plan if Punk wins the world title at WrestleMania 40. What do you guys think of the red brand last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at WWE going to Amazon. Our top story today takes a look at a rather interesting article from the Sports Business Journal, and in their 2024 predictions article, the journal boldly predicts that WWE Raw is heading to Amazon and will be on the digital platform this calendar year. Amazon gets WWE Raw rights and keeps the series on Monday nights. This hits an audience of young males, a demo where Amazon believes it sees growth in Prime subscriptions, plus it gives the company another night of live programming on Prime Video. Would you guys like to see Raw on Amazon each week? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, major surprises returning at the Royal Rumble. Now of course this next story contains huge spoilers for the upcoming Royal Rumble, so a spoiler warning is in place, and if you want to skip to the next story, be sure to check the description. According to PW Insider Elite, names that could potentially return at the Royal Rumble this year include Naomi, X-Pac, and Liv Morgan. These will certainly be satisfying surprise entrants, and hopefully WWE delivers something memorable and exciting when it comes to the annual matchup. Next up, a WWE legend wants to return in time for the Rumble. Speaking of the Rumble, Rey Mysterio revealed on Baker Banter that he would ideally like to return from his injury in time for the Rumble match. I'm really working hard on my physical therapy. I just had knee surgery thanks to Santos Escobar, and his time will come eventually. I do hope that I can return for the Rumble, if not shortly after that. I'm working very hard to make my return as soon as possible. Mysterio vs Escobar is a highly anticipated program, and logic would dictate that the two are on a collision course heading into WrestleMania 40. Next up, Becky Lynch reveals post-WWE plans. Now, it's hardly a secret that Becky Lynch has plans beyond the squared circle, and now Lynch has gone into detail in relation to her plans for when she calls it a day as an in-ring competitor. Speaking on the Casual podcast, the multi-time former women's champion revealed, "I suppose writing books and performance is something that I've always loved. I've studied it, I've got my degree in acting. I don't know if you saw a little role that I played as Cyndi Lauper, but acting is something that I love for a long time, and it's something I've studied and got my degree in. That is something I'd like to pursue. Also, writing on very much something that I love, and that could be something there too, only time will tell." Lynch is one of the favourites heading into the Women's Royal Rumble match, but before Lynch cements her place in the main event of WrestleMania, she's gonna have to finish her rivalry with Nia Jax over on Raw. Next up, a former WWE star breaks his silence. Dolph Ziggler's WWE release came as a huge surprise last year. Ziggler was seen as one of the most popular names in the locker room, yet WWE over the past few years has barely utilised him on TV, and it was clear that they had no plans to feature him in a major role. In a great interview with Busted Open Radio, the former world champion revealed that he was prepared for his WWE release, and he even sent an email to the WWE boss informing him that he had to move on. "I was prepared for the last 6, 8, 10 months going. At some point I have to make a change here. As you get ready to go and you see you don't have a chance to be in a pay-per-view match and steal the show, you don't have a chance to have a 6-man match to steal the show, you have a match that it's 3 minutes and you don't get an entrance and everyone knows who is winning. Can I find a way to have that work?" Once that started happening, even a couple of years ago when Bobby Roode and I were tagging, I was thinking, at some point I have to be ready to go. Will my shape and stamina still be there? I've been preparing so long and getting things ready to go. It wasn't what do I do now? I'm free. I was planning for half of this entire last contract going. I know at some point I'm being paid way too much to sit at home, so I'm gonna have to get out of here. Ziggler added, "I sent emails to the boss over the last few months saying I have to move on to somewhere else. Can you let me do this?" Eventually, without exact back and forth, that's how it worked out. And it wasn't weird because it was so 6, 8, 10 months in place going. Here it comes. Now I have 90 days sitting around, which broke my heart, but I just got extra workouts. Now it looks like Ziggler is set for a run in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and his match with David Finlay is set to take place at the New Beginning. Not to mention that, but there's also rumored interest in AEW. And finally, should Roman Reigns vs The Rock take place at Elimination Chamber? Our final story today takes a look at the ongoing debate as to when and where Roman Reigns vs The Rock should take place. The latest chime in is notable wrestling personality Eric Bischoff, and on the latest edition of his 83 Weeks podcast, he declared that WWE should book the dream match at Elimination Chamber in Australia next month. WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl, right? Well, why not have 2 Super Bowls if you can? Certainly with The Rock there in Perth, it sets the stage for future international growth, and that's, I'm guessing, a big part of the strategy. If you look at the dots and connect a few of them, since Nick Khan has come on board and is steering the ship, a lot of emphasis in place on international PLEs. Bischoff culminated by saying, "I think that is a great way to do that. I'd like to see The Rock Roman in Perth. I'd like to see Roman beat Rock because it makes the most sense to me, and then set up a monster of a pay-per-view match in Cody and Roman for all the marbles." That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. When would you guys like to see The Rock vs Roman happen? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.